What's going on, everyone? Cash Creatures here. And today, Destined Rivals officially turns 1 year old. So we're going to be reviewing the set, including some of the sealed products and singles, and seeing where we go from here. So let's get right into it. So Destined Rivals was officially released on May 30th of 2025, making it exactly 1 year old as of today. And Destined Rivals is the last mainline set of the Scarlet and Violet era. It's the last set that has a booster box in the SV era. And speaking of booster boxes, let's take a look at the Destined Rivals booster box price. So TCG Player currently shows us that it's about $615. If we take a look at the lowest listed on TCG Player, looks to be about $605. We have one without the seal at $575. And we currently have 234 listed on TCG Player and 180 approximately selling per month. Now let's take a look at the sales on eBay as well and see if those prices are roughly accurate. So recent sales on eBay show us that it might be a little bit lower than 600 actually. We have some sales in the 575 range. We do have a sale at about 550, 585, 600, so on and so forth. We have another sale closer to 550, 590, 550. So we do have a pretty wide spread on the booster box price on eBay. Looks like anywhere from $550 to maybe $620 would be a fair price for a booster box. That just kind of goes to show when you are looking for these products, make sure you're shopping on different marketplaces and you're checking out what is the best deal around. Basically just making that dollar stretch and getting the most bang for your buck. TCG Player tells us that it's $615, but sometimes even TCG Player doesn't know the market price on its own platform. For example, if we take a look at the 3-month chart, TCG Player is going to tell us it's about $630 per box. But if we take a look at the 1-month chart, it's saying $615, right? So just make sure you're keeping an eye on this kind of stuff if you are looking to purchase these products. And now where do we go from here in terms of booster box price for Destined Rivals? Well, if we take a look at the past year, this booster box is up over 135%, which is absolutely insane. If we go up another 135% over the next year, this booster box will be selling for about $1,500 per box. So probably not very likely. I would expect this booster box to have maybe a 20 to 30% increase over the next year. And if we take a look at where that puts us, let's say a booster box is about $600 right now, and it goes up by about 25%. We're going to be sitting at about $750 per box as of next year. I think that's realistic, especially with the new print facility coming online and going into production as of next year. I do think Pokemon is going to be prioritizing Destined Rivals. Hopefully, they prioritize the booster boxes as well, rather than just some collection boxes and ancillary products. That'll really get the booster box price down and make it more affordable for collectors and investors. And I think if Pokemon does end up doing that, that will be your best chance to buy Destined Rivals booster boxes. Taking a look at the booster box case on eBay. So a case of 6 boxes, we're sitting at about $3,600, $3,500. There's one at $3,400, another at $3,200, but it does have a pretty big hole in it. But honestly, I bet the boxes inside are probably still in great condition. So whoever bought this case, maybe they got a good deal at the end of the day. But as for market price on the sealed case, we're sitting at about $3,500 to $3,600. We do have some lower sales as well. So it doesn't look like there's much of a case premium on the Destined Rivals booster box case at the moment. So if you are looking to invest in a booster box case of this product, now might actually be a good time. See if you can find a good price at auction on eBay. Taking a look at the Elite Trainer box, market price on TCG Player shows us that it's about $205. The lowest listed on TCG is about $209 to $210, it looks like, after shipping included. And we have about 143 quantity listed on TCG Player and 327 selling per month. So pretty good sell-through rate. Over the past 3 months, we've pretty much gone all the way up to $300 per box and then kind of crashed back down to about $200 following the large reprint of the Destined Rivals ETBs that was released recently. I do believe the ETBs were distributed through Walmart. I could be wrong there. But that reprint brought us back down to the $200 price point pretty much. And it does seem like if we continue this strong demand, we will be heading up fairly soon into the 210s, almost 215 range. I think that $215 to $220 price point might be a range in which we stagnate for a while. But if you can find this Elite Trainer box under $200, I still do think it's a good play. Keep in mind that the Elite Trainer box only has 9 booster packs, and it has that Wobbuffet promo. So not an amazing promo, but it is pretty cool. Most of the time people are buying this Elite Trainer box at market price. They're probably just looking to hold it or, keep it in their collection, kind of just keep it as a collector's item rather than, open the box and try to open the packs and whatnot. Taking a look at the Destined Rivals booster bundle, we're sitting at about $79 on TCG Player. Lowest listed appears to be $82 actually. And we have about 1,400 listed on TCG Player and 550 selling per month. So not amazing sales numbers on the booster bundle. Taking a look at the 3-month chart. When this booster bundle was about $50 to $60, I think that was a great time to pick up. Now that it's almost $80, I don't know if it's a great value anymore. Taking the lowest listed price on TCG Player and then dividing that by 6, as there's 6 booster packs in each booster bundle, we got 82 divided by 6. And that puts the per pack price at about $13.67, which actually is not great for Destined Rivals. And here's why. The booster pack right now is at about $8.75 market price on TCG Player. And lowest listed, we have exactly one booster pack at $9, and then it kind of jumps up to $9.50. So maybe this is the last chance to kind of stack up on Destined Rivals loose packs before we start rising. But there's also a chance that more sellers are going to come in and kind of fill that demand gap. And we're probably not going to be moving up too fast anytime soon. But I do think that Destined Rivals loose packs right now are actually a great value. I just showed you guys some of the sealed products from this set. And I mean, if you compare them to the loose booster packs that are inside, all of those products seem extremely overvalued, actually. The loose booster pack seems like a great opportunity. And I do think a lot of people are starting to realize that we see the sales volume picking up a lot on TCG Player at these low price levels of about $8 to $9. At the time of filming this video, there's already been 276 items sold today, and the day's not even over. And that's compared to an average daily sold of only 61 over the past month. So we have a lot more selling recently. So maybe, whatnot streamers and rip and shippers are starting to notice that this booster pack is very undervalued. Again, it's Destined Rivals, right? It's a great set. There's a lot of top chase cards here, which I'll be getting into in just a second. This is one of the most hyped sets of all time upon release, actually. Anyone who was here in the hobby last year, a little bit over a year ago, before the set released, a lot of people, including myself, really thought that this would be the best set ever, best set of all time. And, after it released, still an amazing set, amazing cards in it. Best set of all time, probably not, but, still a very great set. We do have a lot of great cards just visually looking at it. I mean, this looks like an amazing set just off rip. We have a lot of cool SIRs that have been creeping up in price recently. We have a few cool gold cards, quite a few IRs that have been creeping up in price as well. Pretty stacked set, very visually appealing as well. And I believe a lot of these single cards do have potential to continue running. Since it's such a great set from the Scarlet and Violet era, there are going to be a lot of people master setting this. So, there's going to be a lot of demand for these cards. A lot of people looking to fill their empty binder slots, so they'll need to purchase some of the top hits. I myself am collecting some of the top SIRs from this set, mostly the ones with the trainers and their Pokemon, for example, the Mewtwo EX and Cynthia's Garchomp. I already have the Mewtwo, Garchomp, Ho-Oh, Crobat, and Nidoking. The only one I'm missing that I want is the Moltres EX from this set. The Moltres EX was actually one of the weaker performers from this set as of recently. Once the Moltres UPC was released and people found out that it had a Moltres EX promo inside with a stamp on it, that kind of crashed down the price of this card to about $80 to $90. But this card has rebounded fairly quickly, and it's already back to about $125 market price. So that just shows you how resilient some of these cards are from this set. And taking a look at the top 2 chase cards, we have the Mewtwo EX and the Garchomp EX. I do believe that both of these cards are a good opportunity right now, especially in a PSA 10. And here's why. If we take a look at the PSA 10 price for this Mewtwo EX, we're sitting at about $13.20 to $14.50, and averaging that out, it brings us to about $13.70, you could say. And the raw price is at about $550, right? So if we take the ratio of the PSA 10 price to the raw price, we're sitting at about 2.49, so roughly 2.5, which is actually a bit undervalued in my opinion. We typically see a lot of cards have a 3-to-1 ratio in terms of PSA 10 price to raw price, and there's even a lot of cards with a 4-to-1 ratio. So seeing the PSA 10 price to raw price ratio at only 2.49 shows us that there might be some potential here in the PSA 10 value. Similarly, with the Cynthia's Garchomp EX, we kind of have the same situation going on. Price charting shows us that it's about a $250 card raw, while TCG Player shows us that it's actually a bit closer to $280 to $290. And if we take a look at the recent PSA 10s, we're sitting at about $630, $660. We have a low sale at $560. Let's take a look and see why we have that one. Looks like this one's being shipped out of Canada, so maybe sellers trying to avoid import fees or whatever the case may be. But it does look like the PSA 10 average price is about $650. And let's say the raw price is about $280. So coming back to our handy dandy calculator, if we do 650 divided by 280, we get a ratio of only 2.32, which means this PSA 10 to raw ratio is pretty low at the moment. And that tells us that the PSA 10 price for this card could potentially continue moving up. I think the fact that this PSA 10 is below $750 right now is definitely undervalued. And here's another reason why. Taking a look at the pop report for this card, we're going to start with the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. It has a gem rate of about 57% and has a PSA 10 gem mint population of about 13,000, which seems like a big number, but nowadays it's really not a big number. For example, the Mega Charizard X EX from Phantasmal Flames has a higher gem rate at about 60%, and it has 21,000 PSA 10s compared to about 12 to 13,000 PSA 10s for the Mewtwo. And this set was released 6 months after Destined Rivals was. So that means that Phantasmal Flames is actually half as old as Destined Rivals is at the time of filming this video. And we already have significantly more gem mints on the market. And the PSA 10 for this card is way higher than that for the Mewtwo EX. So I do think there's some value here. I think there's some discrepancy in the market right now. And I do think there's going to be a repricing happening very soon with the Mewtwo EX. Again, similarly for the Cynthia's Garchomp EX, gem rate of about 60%, but we have significantly less PSA 10 copies available right now, under 9,000 actually. So not a very high number at all. You know, again, compare that to 21,000 of the Mega Charizard X, which is a significantly newer card as well. So there's been less time for people to open the set, pull the card, send it out to PSA, so on and so forth. So for anyone interested in PSA 10 copies of the Garchomp EX and the Mewtwo EX, the two top hits from Destined Rivals, I would say just keep your eyes peeled, look for eBay auctions, look for good deals locally, and don't be afraid to pull the trigger. Also, it's not just the top chase hits from Destined Rivals that I believe in. I do think a lot of these illustration rares as well have a ton of potential. This Misty Psyduck, for example, it's been steadily creeping up over time, and it's already about $80 per card, but this card could easily be over $100. Similarly, with the Misty's Lapras, about $40. You know, this could easily be a $50 to $60 card. Team Rocket's Meowth, it's about $32 right now. I think $45 to $50 for this is not a bad price at all. Ethan's Typhlosion sitting at about $32. Again, probably $40 for this card is fair. All these cards will be repriced to the upside as supply dries down. Keep in mind, again, there's a lot of people looking to master set these cards or just have the singles in their collection since the singles are so visually appealing, and there's a lot of nostalgia as well. A lot of Gen 1 Pokemon, a lot of Gen 2s, and some Gen 4s as well. So a good amount of potential here in this set. And if you're curious as to where some of these cards can go in the future in terms of price point, look no further than the Trainer Gallery cards from the Sword and Shield era. So currently I've filtered the results to just the Trainer Gallery from Sword and Shield. So that gives us everything from Astral Radiance, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, and Silver Tempest trainer galleries. And I've sorted it by high to low. So the most expensive trainer gallery from the Sword and Shield era is the Rayquaza VMAX. And let's take a look and see how this card has performed over time. So over the past 3 months alone, this card has doubled from $100 to $200. And over the past year, hope you guys are ready for this, this card is up over 170% over the past year. Last year, around the same time, this card was sitting at about $65 to $75, and now it's a $200 card. So that's another reason why I'm confident that a lot of these Destined Rivals singles will continue to go up in price as well. You know, some of these cheaper singles like the Misty Psyduck or Misty's Lapras, it's really hard to call a price ceiling on these cards at this point in time, right? We never know how much more supply is going to be introduced to the market within the next couple of years. We also don't know how much new demand might hit the market within the next couple of years. Let's assume that, you know, Pokemon doesn't do a great job of printing Destined Rivals and introducing the right amount of supply to the market. And on top of that, if there's more people joining the hobby within the next year, let's say due to the release of Wind and Waves, or maybe even in 2028, there's some other catalyst that brings more people into the hobby. If we have a combination of some of these factors, we could easily see the same thing happen for these cards that happened with the trainer galleries from the Sword and Shield era. Now, are we going to get that same perfect storm and have the same kind of factors pop up again? Who knows? It's impossible to say. But one thing for sure is that these cards do have a pretty good risk to reward potential at this point. And there is a lot of upside from here, in my opinion. This is also due to the pull rates for trainer galleries versus illustration rares. The trainer gallery cards from Sword and Shield era were roughly 1 in every 8 packs. So that gives us about a 12% hit rate of pulling a trainer gallery card from a Sword and Shield pack. Versus illustration rares, which is a bit harder, we get roughly 1 in every 9 to 1 in every 13 packs. So that's about an 8 to 11% chance. Averaging that out gives us 9.5%. So a 9.5% hit rate versus a 12.5% hit rate. So illustration rares are significantly more challenging to pull than trainer galleries. And that gives us another catalyst for why we might see these illustration rares continue climbing up in price. So definitely a lot of potential with this set. Just make sure if you are looking to collect or invest in this set, just make your money stretch. You know, look for good prices. Always be looking for the best price on the market for the best condition you can get, right? And just keep your eyes peeled. You know, when reprints come, when you're able to get MSRP drops, you know, just capitalize on those opportunities, especially with Destined Rivals loose packs. If you can buy some loose packs, like a big lot of packs, let's say like 100 plus packs, you know, especially if you're a streamer or a rip and shipper, these prices are not going to last forever. So just try to capitalize on it when you can. I think Destined Rivals has a great future ahead of it. And, you know, if you're focused on the long term over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, it really doesn't matter about all the reprints and restocks that's going to take place over the next year or 2 years, because we know where this is going in the long term, right? This is an amazing set, the best mainline set out of Scarlet and Violet. It's definitely going to be upwards and onwards from here. So that's all I got today, guys. I hope you got some value from this video, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.